NBT Nation, good morning. It's a Saturday afternoon, pop up alive afternoon here in the beautiful Mississippi, USA. NBT Nation, we're going to dive into and unpack what are 5 classic mistakes when you're standing up a training program. You're the leader of an organization. Maybe it's a small or medium sized company. You recognize, hey, we need to have some training. You want to launch a training program. There are 5 classic mistakes that will derail that program before you get out of the starting blocks. There are 5 areas that you got to be really careful of. We're going to unpack all of that so you can avoid them so that your investments in training pay off. So people learn, they grow, they develop. That's what your teams want. That's what they're crying out for. So we're going to unpack that in today's NBT Live. Great to have everyone here. If this topic in corporate training, strategic learning, how training can help move a business forwards, if this topic interests you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, all of that good stuff. So you are the leader of a firm and you want to get impact on the business. You want your investment into training to really build a taproot around which your mission, vision, values can really flourish, that your people can be taken care of, that when somebody joins the firm, they are really set up for success. And again, I'm talking to all leaders, certainly in all organizations, but really it's those smaller firms, those smaller businesses. Leader decides, hey, I really want some training. Here are 5 classic mistakes to avoid so that your mission, vision, values, that taproot of strategy can really flourish, really grow, and you can implement effective strategic learning. You can build that strategic learning plan and then deliver training on the no boring training foundation, no boring training principles, so that you get big results. So, what are some of the classic mistakes? Number one, I've seen this happen in organizations. They decide they want to start having a little bit more training. They start producing random content with no connection to that central strategy. And when I say central strategy, I'm talking about the strategy of the firm and the strategic learning plan, but I want to focus really in on the firm. You start just sort of scatter shotting a bunch of learning, but there's no real connection to this mission, vision, values, and the strategy of the organization. I'm not even to the idea of a strategic learning plan yet. I'm just talking about the strategy of the organization. So often we divorce what you're learning and training from the overall mission, vision, values of the organization. We're doing compliance level stuff, sort of low level things, and it's not really moving the organization forwards. It's really not connected to what's important to the organization. What's the vision of the organization? What's the values of the organization? What is the organization trying to accomplish out in the marketplace? What sets that organization apart? It's just random stuff. Oh, we need some of this. Oh, we need some of that. Oh, we got to teach them this. Oh, we got to teach them that. Oh, make sure they know this. Oh, make sure they know that. And you just end up with stuff. and it's really can be wasteful. So having random content not connected to the strategy of the organization is the first mistake often made when organizations are trying to launch a training program. They're trying to stand up a training structure inside their organization. Second big mistake that I see happening, that even beyond just sort of throwing out a bunch of random stuff, that random stuff becomes very tactical and very compliance based, very compliance focused. Oh, we need to teach them how to request a vacation day or request PTO. Oh, we need to teach them all of the policies of the organization. Oh, we need to teach them this regulatory compliance stuff so that we can maintain our ISO certification. We need to teach them how to, it's sales based stuff. So we need to teach them our products. All of that, super duper important. Absolutely. Very, very important stuff. I'm not suggesting that you don't teach them those things. But when you don't have a strategic learning plan that maps out what people need to learn, when they need to learn it, how they need to learn it, how all of that ties back into the overall strategy of the organization, all of that training isn't sequenced out in a specific way, it becomes very tick the box. I gotta, oh, geez, I gotta get that IT safety security training done. And again, that's super important for sure. But then that becomes all that the training is. Everybody in the organization starts to view it as that thing we have to do, as opposed to, I can't wait to complete this training because it's going to help me be more successful. It's going to help me to be more efficient. It's going to help me to be more creative. It's going to help me do my job more effectively. Can you see the difference there? Now, again, you got to do some of that compliance stuff. I get that. You got to get through those are important subjects. But when you divorce the training from the strategy of the organization, like I said in point number one, and when that's all you do is the compliance level stuff, the training becomes very dry, boring. It becomes this is just one more thing we got to do. And your teams are crying out for training, but they want that training to help them develop, to help them to be able to do more in the organization, to contribute at a deeper level. They want that training to help them not only do more, learn new skills, go in new directions, but be better at the things they already do. So they want more capability and they want more capacity. That's what they're crying out for. So the second big mistake, simply put, is when you make it ticky tack, compliance level stuff, you're not helping them grow and develop to be more capable and have more capacity. And that's what they really want. That's what's going to get you the excellence. That's what's going to get you the alignment. That's what's going to give you the energy. Nobody goes to, here's our policy training so we can maintain our ISO certification. Nobody goes to that and comes out excited to contribute. But you go to a training that helps them actually do their job better and more effectively and helps them grow and prepares them to get promoted and prepares them, then you get the energy. So tactical compliance base, that's a second classic mistake when you're standing up a training program. And that's what we're talking about in today's pop-up NBT Live. What are the classic mistakes that people make when they're starting to build out a training program? All right. Third area, third big mistake. And if you're finding this helpful and effective, please leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Third biggest mistake I see, they're not choosing the correct point person for to coordinate everything, to be in charge of all that. And I'm not even talking about that person is in the C-suite, or maybe is a C-suite role or a chief learning officer, or even that they're a full-time training role. If you're a smaller firm, a medium-sized firm, you may not have the budget for a dedicated full-time trainer person. And I get that. That is totally reasonable. Even still, let's say you're a small company. There's only 4 or 5 people in the office, 10, 15 people out in the production area. Just making sure you choose the right person that can coordinate the training in addition to the 12,000 other things they do is still important. Now, of course, here at No Boring Training, we promote the idea that you should have a chief learning officer, you should have a full-time trainer, you should have these defined roles. But if your firm isn't quite there yet, that's fine, but just make sure you pick the right person who can help coordinate the training and organize the training and document the training and make sure that the right training's done in addition to their 12,000 other duties. Choose the right person. Choose somebody who understands the organization. Choose somebody who knows how the pieces fit together. Choose somebody who can communicate the mission, vision, values of the organization so that when they're explaining how to do this process or this procedure, they can tie that back to the overall strategy and mission, vision, values of the organization. They're good at explaining how all the pieces fit together. Somebody who cares about the firm, somebody who's really passionate about helping the firm grow and develop and get better. But at the same time, somebody who's passionate about helping people. It's not about them going in and telling everybody what to do, but it's how can they partner with that new hire? How can they help kind of welcome them into the fold and help teach them the right things? That's a really important mind space or headspace that somebody has to be in. You're kind of walking that middle ground of I'm here to help the firm and I'm here to help the people. And I bridge all of that together. Yeah, okay, I'm teaching them how to request time off, but it's an important function in welcoming somebody into the firm. It's an important function for those that are already inside the firm. You got to have the right person with the right headspace, the right mindset. And again, they don't necessarily have to be a full time trainer yet. If you're a small, medium sized firm, you're just thinking about getting some organizing, some training, you're not going to have that. And I get that. But even still, picking the point person who can kind of start putting it all together and being having responsibility for it, that's an important decision. Don't choose that lightly. Classic mistakes that we see, whoever's been there the longest, whoever's most senior, whoever's been in the role or at the company for a long time. Oh, well, that's Bob. We'll make Bob the trainer. He's been here a million years. Well, Bob might not be good at communicating all the things we just got done talking about. Bob may be garbage at all that. You know, okay, great. Mary is the most senior person, but maybe Mary's horrible at explaining things. Maybe Roger is the best production person we have. And just because they're the most senior, because they're the best out on the floor, doesn't mean that they should be responsible for training. It's two different skill sets. So think long and hard about who you choose to be kind of your point person when you're thinking about getting a training program stood up, when you're getting ready to kind of launch that and you're going to start building that out. Think about who you're going to choose. All right. So, number 4, the fourth common mistake that we see when you're standing up, you're starting a training program, taking a one and done approach instead of spreading that training out over a period of time. A one and done approach versus spreading that learning out over a period of time. All too often, training is reduced to kind of what I call a magic wand solution. We tell people we're having a problem with X. We're going to do a little bit of training on it. We're going to tell everybody, hey, don't do X, do Y. And then our problem's solved until the dawn, to the end of time. Well, people, if you're changing somebody's behavior, you might have to tell them more than once. You might have to practice more than once. If you're learning a new skill, you may have to do it multiple times. When you learn how to ride a bike, you don't just hop on and go. Sometimes you have to kind of wobble around and and then you fall over and get up and try again and again. And eventually we kind of get the hang of it. When you're learning a new skill, you might have to do it more than one time. If you're changing behaviors, whether that's you're changing somebody's natural way of doing things to comply with how your company does it, when you maybe are hiring people in from the industry, but you do things a little differently than the rest of the industry, or you're changing people's nature, that takes time. The cold turkey approach, when you're trying to maybe lose a little weight, maybe that works for some people, but that doesn't work for everybody. You may have to kind of ease into things, or you may have to change habits slowly over a period of time. You may have to change behavior slowly over a period of time. All that to say, one and done usually doesn't work. And if it's that simple, why are you doing training? Send them an email and be done with it. Right? Why are you investing any time in training? If it's so easy that you tell somebody once and it's done, well, just freaking go tell them and be done with it. You don't need training. Most of the time, you need repetition, you need time to learn the skill, you need time to change the behavior, and you need to practice this over a period of time. Soft skills are certainly that way. You usually have to do it a number of times to kind of get the hang of it. Ongoing development, same thing. If you're, trying to take skills and have people grow and get more experience, sometimes you need that experience of doing this before you can layer on the next thing. Now, when I say experience, it could be a matter of hours, it could be a matter of days, or maybe a couple weeks or something. But the idea that, well, we had a one training session one time and we covered how to do XYZ that one time. The idea that, well, okay, everybody knows it, they got it now. I mean, that, come on, even just hearing those words, it's a little silly, right? So, training takes time, changing behavior takes time, building behaviors takes time, learning new skills takes time, practicing those skills takes time, mastering those skills takes time, learning new advanced knowledge takes time. And it doesn't have to be 100,000 years. But it takes more than, 15 minutes, over some coffee at the beginning of a shift, usually, for more complicated, more ongoing things. So, changing the mindset when you're standing up a training program, it's so easy to make the mistake of thinking, well, we're going to have this session when somebody hires into the firm. We'll go through the course on how to do blah, blah, blah. They'll learn how to do this procedure and they'll be good forever. That may not be accurate. You may need to have some repetition. You may need to map out some recurrent training. You may need to build layered learning or use layered learning to get repetition or to have access to information in multiple different ways. You need to maybe allow for that time for the training effect to show up. Spreading training out over a period of time, if we're looking at if we're looking at time in a left to right axis, you need to spread that training out over a period of time usually. And that's, excuse me, where sometimes we make the mistake of trying to rush things, trying to get things done very, very quickly. I knew I should have stuck with coffee. I'm having ginger ale and should have stuck with the coffee. So, taking a one and done mindset is one of those classic mistakes when you're starting to do training. You, over time, realize I need to spread this training out over a greater period of time, give people a more repetition, give more people reminders, have refresher training, have recurrent training. That usually needs to happen when, especially when there's a lot of skills you're learning, a lot of behavior you're learning, or a lot of behavior you're changing. All right. And now we're down to number five, the fifth most common mistake when standing up a training program. You're a leader of a small firm, a small business, late stage startup, maybe a large autonomous team, but it's just you off with the team. We talked about how random content with no real connection to the business strategy. We talked about really tactical compliance level training only and not the bigger picture training, the all that. We talked about not choosing the right person to organize, take ownership, to really coordinate things, and then having that one and done approach, classic mistakes. The fifth classic mistake when standing up a training program is not adopting a layered learning approach early on. Now, layered learning is when we're really looking at taking, we talked about training spread over a period of time going this way, but also having lots of different ways to access the information this way. So maybe you have a full blown classroom based schedule session. Maybe you have a smaller refresher boot camp kind of quick hit workshop type approach. Then maybe you have some structured on the job training. Then maybe you have some virtual touch bases. Then maybe you have a quick explainer video library, just little quick 1 minute, 2 minute type refresh videos. Then maybe you have a quick reminder at a stand up meeting, and then you have a guide, and then you maybe have an instruction manual and work instructions. So you have all of these different layers from full blown training program all the way down to just read the instructions and everywhere in between. That's layered learning. And we talk a lot about that here on the channel. So you can not only build out training with lots of repetition over time and spending more and more time on specific subjects, you can also increase the access to that knowledge deeper this way by having all of these different scaled programs, scaled amounts of material. Sometimes just a little infographic to remind somebody of what the process is or the important steps of a process is really all you need. And that's part of that layered learning bucket is just that one little infographic. Sometimes just a 1 hour quick virtual session to kind of remind everybody and answer and clarify a particular topic is really all you need. Sometimes just a quick explainer video, a 1 or 2 minute video that people can go and watch where the process is demonstrated and common pitfalls are called out. That's really all you need. Sometimes you got to pull people offline and spend a week in the classroom, but having that layered approach really powerful. You want to really start impacting your business like you're seeing on the screen here, and you're really finding that excellence, alignment, and energy where you have the intersection of mission, vision, values of the firm, a strategic learning plan, and then that learning is delivered on a foundation of no boring training. All those pieces coming together to give you that excellence, alignment, and energy, man, that's where magic really starts to happen. And then have access to all that knowledge throughout with a layered learning approach. Oh my goodness. What a huge driver to those metrics that keep you up at night. What a huge way to really impact things and drive things forwards. It takes some time to build that out for sure. It takes energy to build that out. It takes focus to build all that out for sure. That is not going to happen overnight. But a classic mistake I see is not building that layered approach from the get go. We do everything in the classroom. We do everything virtually. We do everything through e-learning, but we do everything through this one distribution channel of knowledge. We do everything through this one singular channel of information in the organization. Every time you want to learn something, you got to call Glenda in the office. Every time you want to learn something, go to Bob's shared folder and Bob's thing. And that's a mistake because people learn in different ways. People need to access the information in different ways. They have different needs, as I described earlier. They just may need that little reminder because of an infographic. They may need the full blown program, but their needs vary. So give them the information, give them the training in different ways. That layered learning approach can really, really drive huge impact in the organization. But it takes that commitment from the beginning. It takes you thinking about that from the beginning and then slowly building that out over time. But I do see organizations when they're thinking about standing up a training program, they kind of go to their default setting. Oh, you know what? We have a daily huddle every morning. We're going to use that daily huddle for a quick 5 minute training. That's great. But then over time, that becomes the only way they deliver knowledge in the organization. That's not so great. You want to layer that knowledge, spread the knowledge out over a greater period of time. That's point number 4. But then spread the knowledge out deeper as well. That's point 5. That's the big mistake. So, 5 classic mistakes that organizations make when they're standing up a training program. Random content not tied at all to any sort of business strategy, let alone a learning strategy. Tactical compliance-based training only. Now that stuff's needed for sure, but that if that's all you do, people are not really growing and developing. They aren't taking on more capabilities and capacities. Not choosing the right point person in the beginning to really take ownership, that person who can look out for the best interest of the firm and the best interest of the people and are good at explaining things and have that passion and that energy, even if they have to do five other jobs in the meantime, not choosing that right person. One and done training. We're just going to do it once and not spreading that knowledge building out over time and then not having a layered learning approach from the jump. We're just doing training this one way, and that's all we're ever going to do. Those are the five classic mistakes when you're standing up a training program. Those are going to derail you from achieving the excellence, alignment, and energy that you want as a business leader. They are going to derail you from that real impact on revenue, profit, talent retention, net promoter score. It's going to erode your investment in training. It's going to degrade your return on investment. So there you have it, NBT Nation. Saturday afternoon, little pop up live here. Wanted to share that out with everybody. Let me know. What are your thoughts? What did I miss? What would you add to the list? What are some other ways that we can derail a training program in its infancy, derail the impact from training when we're just starting to stand up a training program? Let me know. Leave me some comments down below. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, NBT Nation, we'll see you again soon. Don't forget, excuse me, don't forget to visit NBT or noboringtraining.com for all sorts of different resources, and stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget also that working very, very diligently on upcoming ebook, The Hard Truths of Becoming a No Boring Trainer. And when that drops, I cannot wait to share it here on the channel and at noboringtraining.com. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend.